Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. In today's video, we are talking salicylic acid. I've been using salicylic acid to treat my oily, acne-prone skin for the past 10 years, and it's only recently I've actually worked out I've been using it wrong the whole time. And I want to sit down in this video and share with you my own experiences with salicylic acid, some of the hints, tips, and hacks for how you can get the most out of it in your skincare routine, no matter what your skin type, how to use it correctly, and when you've got all of that worked out, which are the best salicylic acid products on the market. Trust me, I've tried hundreds in the past decade, and I want to share with you my absolute ding holy grail products. So sit back, relax, and let's talk all things salicylic acid. Now, first and foremost, before we get into this, I know a lot of you are thinking, I might tune out of this video because salicylic acid is actually only for oily and acne prone skin. Well, that's the first mistake that I think people make. There are so many great benefits that you can derive from salicylic acid in your skincare routine, no matter what your skin type. I'm going to come on to how to use it for different skin types later on in the video. I've left timestamps below for all the different sections of this video, so if you do want to skip to one section or the other, be my guest and use the timestamps below. While you're down there, if you could give this video a big thumbs up, a like, honestly, it supports me and the channel so much, and I would love you forever. But should we cut the waffle and actually start with what is salicylic acid? Well, it's an exfoliating acid similar to things like glycolic acid, lactic acid, mandelic acid, but it has one key difference. Rather than being an alpha hydroxy acid like all the others that I've mentioned, it's actually a beta hydroxy acid. That one little different letter in that makes a whole lot of difference because it's actually oil soluble rather than water soluble. This means that salicylic acid is easier to penetrate into the skin. It will go into the pores, bind to the oil that our skin produces, and remove it. With that, the excess oil goes the dirt, the debris, blackheads, any congestion in the skin. Beyond just that, it'll also do a surface exfoliation as well, so it'll melt away the bonds that are holding the dead skin cells onto the gorgeous, glowing, radiant, fresh skin beneath. Meaning it can help to increase vibrancy, luminosity in the skin, and it can also help to increase cellular turnover, so give a more even overall complexion. In a lot of ways, it does work similar to lactic acid, which is one of my favourite exfoliators, and I covered that in a separate video, which I'll link up there. But being oil soluble, it has some key differences. It doesn't have to be in such a low pH as some of the other exfoliating acids. That's because the water soluble ones do need to be in a more acidic pH to really get the benefits. Because this isn't the case for salicylic acid, it means it's often in a more gentle formulation, so it'll work better for people with sensitive or redness prone skin. You still have to choose the right salicylic acid product for your skin type, but I find this easier to pair them in terms of redness and sensitivity prone skin than it is some of the other exfoliating acids on the market. Similarly, because it's oil soluble, it actually goes into the skin and gets to work pretty quick, which is why you often see salicylic acid in cleansers, and I'm quite happy to use a salicylic acid cleanser because whilst I normally recommend people don't pack their actives into cleansers because you're leaving them on skin, 60 seconds, then rinsing them down the sink, this is enough time, that 60 seconds, for salicylic acid to actually get to work, meaning cleansers are a really good option for people with sensitive skin that want to use salicylic acid. So salicylic acid probably sounds too good to be true and you think, okay, I'm already sold. But there are a couple of things that you need to bear in mind before you reach for that salicylic acid serum. First and foremost, it does bind to the oil in the skin and removes the excess oil, with it the dirt, the debris, and all the gunk that's clogging up our pores. That sounds great, but you need to be mindful that if you're already drier or on a drier skin type, it might exacerbate that, and so you want to make sure you minimize the amount of salicylic acid you use. Maybe use it every third day rather than daily, and also make sure you pack the following steps in your routine with humectants, with moisturizers to replenish the skin. Also, most dermatologists don't recommend that you use salicylic acid while pregnant, so you do need to bear that in mind. If you're pregnant or intending on getting pregnant, you might want to limit your salicylic acid or speak to your prescriber, doctor, or midwife to get their take on it. But I did just want to call that out because that's something that doesn't always apply to all skincare, but it certainly does to salicylic acid. So, shall I share with you now my experience with salicylic acid and kind of where I was going wrong? So I used this treatment for the past 10 years to tackle my blemishes and my excess oil in the skin, and I piled the salicylic acid on. Honestly, I couldn't get enough of it. Morning, evening, sometimes in the middle of the day, I'd be using salicylic acid toners and washes to just really strip out the oil. And of course, I found it really drying. Now, when you dry out the skin, often it overcompensates by creating more oil, so you're kind of in that vicious cycle. What I realized recently is that salicylic acid shouldn't actually, in my opinion, be used as the standard standalone exfoliator. You should choose one of the other amazing exfoliating acids on the market, such as the lactic acid, which I referenced earlier. And then use your salicylic acid in a more targeted way. Use it on those greasy areas, the T-zone, where you have the congestion in the skin. If you're prone to breakouts in certain areas, that's where adding a salicylic acid treatment into the routine can pay really great dividends without stripping the whole face of its oils and the things that it needs to be healthy. I find that salicylic acid used in a targeted way like that gives you all the results that you need. It helps tame the oil, it can help minimize the amount of breakouts that are present in the skin, but it doesn't strip and dry the healthy skin around it. I'm really dry on my cheek areas. I'm also dry here on the temples, so I avoid those areas with my salicylic acid and instead focus down on where I need it. And I've noticed I get so many great benefits from doing it that way. I combine it with my lactic acid. It's one of the few exfoliating acids you can use alongside other exfoliators, so I'll use my lactic acid across the skin and then just my salicylic acid where I need it in those oily breakout prone areas. This is a great hack that I would definitely recommend, but of course before you do this, make sure you patch test and you think about your skin type, because this might be too much for people with very sensitive skin and you might want to use the lactic acid and salicylic acid on opposite days and kind of use it like that. Listen to what your skin's saying. Now, all that being said, we've actually come to the part of the video that I'm sure you're all waiting for. We know the benefits of salicylic acid, we know its limitations, and we know how to use it correctly in order to get the maximum benefits. And now I'm going to come on to my favourite serums and other products that contain salicylic acid. Here I'm focusing down on that 2% concentration of the active ingredient. I've read so many studies into salicylic acid, and most of them point to the 2% concentration kind of being that sweet spot where you get the maximum results with the minimum side effects. You'll see some products that stretch that to say 5%, but that's when you can risk sensitivity, redness, irritation. I get all the benefits I need from a 2% concentration, and I think at that point it's applicable to most skin types, bar maybe the most sensitive, who might want to go for a 1% instead. For me, that 2% does everything I need, and that's what most of the products here are containing. First and foremost, I'm going to name my current absolute favorite, which is this. This is the Perfectly Clear Serum by Geek and Gorgeous. Now, this actually goes on sale this weekend. So when this video goes live, this product will be available this weekend. It's been launched in different territories on different days. So just keep checking the link that I'm going to leave below for when it actually launches wherever in the world you are. Honestly, I love this. I got like a sneak preview of it and I've been using it for the last month and a half, and I think honestly it's one of my absolute favourite salicylic acids. You get that 2% concentration, perfection, but it's also got some nice ingredients alongside it to calm and hydrate the skin. So I say that this is going to work for just about all skin types, and like I said, it doesn't have a super low pH because you don't need that with salicylic acids. So you won't get that tingling, that prickling, almost that unpleasant sensation that you can get from some exfoliating acids. And honestly, I'd say having used this for like a month and a half, I've definitely noticed a reduction in the blackheads, the congestion in the skin. My acne is definitely under control. I'm using some other things as well to help with that, but I definitely think this is a key core component, and the price is like drugstore friendly, so like who doesn't love that? It's vegan, it's cruelty free, all of the good stuff, and definitely one that I would recommend if you're looking for that 2% budget friendly salicylic acid. Now, it wouldn't be a video on salicylic acid if I didn't call out the Paula's Choice Skin Perfecting 2% BHA Liquid Exfoliant. That is a whole mouthful, but I think this is probably the best selling salicylic acid on the market. This isn't a serum like the Geek and Gorgeous one, it's a toner, so it's a liquid that you apply to the skin, and people have gone mad for this. Similar and in keeping with the Geek and Gorgeous one, it's not in a super low acidic pH, which means you don't get that tingling, and it's suitable for people with more sensitive skin types. I love that, but you still get all the hit of that 2% salicylic acid to help with the skin's congestion and any acne and excess oil you might be suffering with. I really like this product. The only reason I don't have it on me now, it's not a permanent fixture in my skincare routine, is because I got great results, but that price point is a little bit up there. And if I'm honest, I think you get the same results from using something like the Geek and Gorgeous and some of the other products I'm going to come on to. However, I did want to mention it because honestly, it is a really good product. I'm also going to call out this, which is the Face Theory Salicylic Acid. Again, a 2% concentration, but it's also got some really nice antioxidants in here. So it's got some green tea in here. It's got some calming and soothing botanicals as well. So all around, I think it's a nice product if you have very sensitive skin and you want something you can use gently that also has some nice botanicals and antioxidants alongside it. I do know a couple of people that have said that this product is a little bit drying to their skin. I didn't personally experience that, but I have super oily skin anyway. So maybe bear that in mind. I've linked it below. So, take a look, read some of the reviews. use. I think this is definitely going to be a win-win-win for people that have oily or combination oily skin. If you have slightly drier skin types, then maybe reach for the Geek and Gorgeous rather than the Face Theory one, which I do think can lead to some extra dryness in the skin, but it'll just depend on your individual skin type. Now, before I leave the serum section of my favorite salicylic acids, I want to call out one fail that I tried and I just didn't find worked for me. This is the Typology Salicylic Acid 2% serum. First and foremost, you pay quite a lot for this product and you get very little. I find that one of these will last me about 3 weeks, which isn't a whole lot amount of product for what you're paying for it. I also find that of all of the ones, this is the most stripping and drying, and it did make me feel really a little bit sensitive after I used it consistently for like a week. This isn't something that you can't treat with, using a calming or soothing serum, adding some extra moisture in, but I just found that the others worked way better for me. So this Typology one is a firm pass. I also find it's reasonably oily. Considering it does strip and dry the skin, it's also quite oily in terms of the texture, which I find just a bit unpleasant on my oily, acne-prone skin. So this, of all of the serums I've tried, I'd say is a firm pass for me. Now, what happens if you don't want a serum? We mentioned cleansers earlier and how salicylic acid is one of the few actives which actually works well in a cleanser, and there is only one for me. You guys probably know this is coming because I've mentioned this on the channel so often. This is the Inkey Salicylic Acid Cleanser. So good. You get all the great benefits of a salicylic acid, but in a wash-off treatment. This is fantastic for people that have more sensitivity or dryness in the skin because they can use this and it's not a leave-on treatment, so the limited mechanism of action means it won't exacerbate sensitivity and dryness. I really love this and I use it all over the body because don't forget, you can get acne and excess oil on the chest, on the back, pretty much anywhere, and this is really good. Also works great for breaking down keratin plugs. So if you've got keratosis pilaris, which is also known as chicken skin on the backs of the arms, the bumps on the thighs, this is really great to help break those keratin plugs and just smooth out the area. Definitely one that I would recommend. I've got 2 other mentions before I want to come on to some specific spot treatments. My 2 other mentions are this. This is the BHA Clarity Gel Cream by Good Molecules. And the reason I want to call this out is if you have dry skin, but you also have congestion. You've got blackheads, maybe you've got a few pimples, but you're scared to use a salicylic acid because you're worried that it'll strip and dry your already dehydrated skin. Reach for this product. Of all the ones I've tried at a 2% concentration, this is by far and away the most hydrating. You can keep it in the fridge if you want. It's a gel combination. It calms and it soothes the skin. It's just all around a fantastic holy grail for anyone that has dry or combination dry skin. I'd say this is the one to reach for. And I'm going to give an honourable mention, a shout out to this, the Ordinary Salicylic Acid Mask. This is great if you're looking for a very targeted treatment. Say blackheads on the nose, on the chin, and you want something that you can put on a couple of times a week to just tackle that without having to have a standalone step in your routine. This is a really nice option. It's a little bit messy. It's got charcoal in here. It gets all over your sink, all over your clothes. So probably, my tip, do it in the nude and make sure you're not using white towels when you wash it off. That would be my top tip for this product because it does get everywhere, but it's also really effective. I've used this on my nose where I'm prone to blackheads for years and always love the results. Now, finally, I want to give an honourable mention and shout out to some salicylic acid spot treatments. I said before, I like to use my salicylic acid in a targeted way, but if you've got one giant pimple, particularly if it's a cystic pimple that you just want to tackle in that moment, then reaching for a salicylic acid spot treatment can be a great option. They're often formulated with other ingredients, and I'd look out for in a spot treatment something that isn't drying and stripping, because if you dry the zit, it takes longer to heal. That's never a good thing. I'd look for ingredients such as sulfur, which will calm, reduce the redness and the irritation, and works beautifully with salicylic acid. I'd look for glycerin, because that's a humectant, so it will hydrate the area as well as tackling some of the additional breakouts. And I'd say of all the ones I've tried, this is my ride or die favourite, the Satin by Sunday Riley. Such a great product. And if you want to kind of know how this works and a little bit of a demo, I did a shorts video on it, which I'll leave a link to up there. Worth checking out. But this total holy grail. It's got the sulfur, it's got the hydrators, it's got the salicylic acid, and it's just a great way of really targeting down your salicylic acid use to get that offending pimple. This would be the one that I'd recommend. So there you have it, guys. My experience with hints, tips and hacks for using and my favourite salicylic acids. I'd love to know what your thoughts and feelings are on salicylic acid. Is it your ride or die? Do you worry that you might, like me, have been using it wrong all along and you're using it as an all-over treatment? Or do you think that's absolute rot and you like to use it as your standalone exfoliator? Sound off in the comments section below and let me know your experiences, because I'd love to hear them. And wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and love your skin. Take care. Bye.